All right, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be doing lecture 13, multi-step equations. So with each equation that we want to do today, we want to do three things. We want to isolate the variable. That means getting the variable by itself on one side, whether it's the left side or the right side. The second thing that we want to do is we want to write a solution set. Your solution set is going to look like this. It's going to have those curvy braces to it. One number should be inside there. And then the third step that we're going to be doing today is checking your solution. So we're going to be starting with the original equation that we started off with, and then we're going to substitute in the answers to see if we can get the two sides to be equal. All right, let's try the even ones today. All right, we're going to be doing the evens on the classwork. All right, let's start off with number 2. We've got 162 is equal to 7 minus 5 times 1 plus 8x. Now with these multi-step equations, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to do the distributive property first. So I'm going to write distributive property. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be identifying what's on the outside and what's on the inside. Outside the parentheses, we have a -5. We're going to take that -5 and we're going to multiply it by everything that's on the inside. So when we do that, we get 162 is equal to 7. And then I do my distributive property. -5 times 1 will give me -5. Also, -5 times 8x, that's going to give me minus 40x. So at this point, I've done the distributive property. Everything went okay with that. And now I've got some like terms that I can combine. I have a +7 and I have a -5. And when I put 7 minus 5 together, I'm going to get 2. But I still have to bring down the 162 and I still have to bring down the minus 40x. Okay, so now that we've combined like terms, I'll write that down, combine like terms. What we have to do now is we have to solve this two-step equation. Now this two-step equation can be solved. We have to get x by itself though. So we need to get rid of the 2 and the minus 40. The first thing we're going to get rid of is the +2. I can subtract 2 from both sides to do that. So when I do that, the 2 and the minus 2 will cancel out, leaving me with a minus 40x or negative 40x. And over on the other side, I have 162 minus 2. That's going to give me 160. All right, so the last thing I have to do is solve this one-step equation. This is now a one-step equation. I have to get rid of the minus 40. Since it's being multiplied by x, I have to divide both sides by negative 40. So when I do that, I divide by negative 40 over here. The two numbers on the top and the bottom are going to cancel out. I also have to do the same thing on the left side because we have to divide both sides by negative 40. And we get 160 divided by negative 40 is going to be negative 4. So we get negative 4 for our answer. And I bring down my variable. So now we know what x is. X is equal to negative 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my solution set, and I'm going to put -4 on the inside. And that's my second step. Now the third step is I need to check my solution. I need to make sure that -4 is actually going to work here. So what I'm going to do is on the next slide, I'm going to start off with my original equation. 162 is equal to 7 minus 5, 1 plus 8x. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test -4. X equals -4. Because I want to see if this solution actually works when I plug it back in. So what I'm going to do is everywhere I see an X, I'm going to replace that with a -4. When I do that, I get 7 minus 5 times 1 plus 8 times -4. When that happens, I work out what's inside the parentheses first. 8 times -4 is going to give me a -32. So that plus negative can be written as a minus. On the inside, I have 1 minus 32. What would that give me? That would give me -31, right? And now the last two things I need to do is I need to multiply and then add 7. So we have -5 times -31. Those are two negative numbers, so that when I multiply them together, I'm going to get a positive number. I'm going to get a positive 155. And when I add these two numbers together, I get 162 is equal to 162. And that's going to be my true statement. So because I got a true statement from this, I know that -4 is going to work. So -4 is going to belong inside the solution set. Okay, let's try number 4. Number 4. So what I want to do with this one is I want to start off by looking and seeing what I can do first. I have -6 times 1 plus 7n is equal to -16. -216. So the first thing I see is I see the distributive property. I have -6 times 1 on the inside, and I have -6 times 7n on the inside. So I'm going to do the distributive property first. All right, so -6 times 1 is -6. -6 times 7n is going to give me -42n. And everything is still equal to 216. Now I have a two-step equation. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get n by itself, but I do need to get rid of the -6 and the -42. So the -6 can be gotten rid of by adding 6 to both sides. So let's get rid of the -6 first. Now when I do that, they cancel out over here. I'm left with -42n is equal to -216 plus 6. That's going to give me -210. All right. So now we're almost done because now we have a one-step equation. I need to get that n by itself on the left side. So I need to get rid of that -42. And I can do that by dividing both sides by -42. When I do that, they cancel out on the left side. I have to do the same thing on the right side. Now I have negative 210 divided by negative 42. What that means is I'm going to have a negative divided by a negative, which is going to give me a positive number. And that positive number is going to be 5. So n is going to be equal to 5. I put that inside of my solution set. Okay. So the last thing that we want to do with this problem is we want to check the solution. We want to plug this back into the original equation and make sure that it works. And I'm going to do that on the next slide. Okay, for number 4, I start off with my original equation. Negative 6 times 1 plus 7n is equal to negative 216. I know that n is going to be equal to 5, so I'm going to be using that to plug in for n. I'm going to replace every n with a 5. So I get negative 6 times 1 plus 7 times 5. I have a double set of parentheses, so that's why I have a double set right here. And everything is still equal to negative 216. So now I need to work inside the parentheses first. 7 times 5 is going to give me 35. One plus 35 is going to give me 36. And then negative 6 times 36 is going to give me negative 216. So both sides are equal. That is a true statement. Okay, so that was number 4. We're going to try number 6 next. So let me change my color to yellow, and we'll try number 6 on the classwork. Okay, so 6 is giving me a negative 4 on the outside, and then on the inside, I have b plus 7. So it's pretty obvious that they want b to be the variable. Plus 2b. And on the other side, I have negative 24 minus 3 times b. So we have a lot of variables. Well, what's the first thing that I can do? I can do the distributive property, right? Because I have a negative 4 right here on the outside, and I can multiply that by everything that's on the inside, the b and the 7. And when I do that, I get negative 4b minus 28. So that's what I get when I do the distributive property. And I'm going to keep everything else the same. All right, so at this point, what I can do is I can underline like terms, right? I can underline this b term right here, negative 4b, but I could also underline the 2b. They both end with the same variable, so I can add those together. So when I have negative 4b plus 2b, that's going to give me negative 2b. And then the minus 28 is going to come down. We haven't done anything with that yet. And the right side is going to stay the same for now. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to collect all the b terms on one side so that all the numbers show up on the other side. So I need to find some way to get this b term over to the left side. Since I have a minus 3b, I'm going to add 3b to both sides. Add 3b to both sides. When I do that, they're going to cancel out on the right side, leaving me with a negative 24. On the other side, I have 3b plus negative 2b. That's just going to be positive 1b. So I could write that as 1b, or I could write that as just a b if the 1 is understood to be there. And then the last thing I have to do is my two-step equation. I've got to get rid of the negative 28, and I've got to get rid of the 1 so that b can be by itself. To get rid of a negative 28, we're going to add 28 to both sides. Add 28. So that way, the negative 28 and the positive 28 will add up to give me 0, so they cancel out. And I bring down the 1b. Over here on the other side, we have 28 minus 24. If we add those two numbers, we're going to get a positive 4. So at this point, all I need to do is divide by 1. That way I can get the 1 by itself. I mean the b by itself. And then if I divide by 1 on the right side, I'm not really changing anything, right? 4 divided by 1 is still going to give me 4. So that goes inside my solution set. All right, so I know that b has to be 4 for this whole equation to work out. So let's go ahead and check that solution on the next slide. Okay, we're doing number 6. We're going to do the original. Negative 4 times b plus 7 plus 2b is equal to negative 24 minus 3b. Okay, so on the last slide, we figured out that b was 4. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in 4 for b. So the b has changed into a 4 right here. This b also has to change into a 4 because everywhere I see the variable, I have to plug in 4. On the other side, I have negative 24 minus 3 times 4. So now I have a bunch of stuff that I can do. I can do 4 plus 7 is equal to 11. I simplify that. 2 times 4 is going to give me 8. And 3 times 4 is going to give me 12. All right, so on the left side, I have negative 4 times 11. That's going to give me negative 44 plus 8. On the other side, I have negative 24 minus 12. That's minus 36. And then on the left side, the last thing to do is to add these two numbers up, and you get that negative 36 equals negative 36 that you want. So we get that true statement. Okay. Let's try 8, and then the last one we'll do is 10. All right, for 8, I've got negative n minus 4 equals negative 14 plus 5n. So what can I do with this one? Notice on the left side that I have the distributive property. What I can do is I can take that negative, which is really negative 1, and I can multiply it by everything on the inside. So I'm going to multiply everything on the inside by a negative 1. Negative 1 times n is going to give me negative 1n. And then negative 1 times negative 4 is going to give me a plus 4. And I'm going to keep everything on the other side the same for now. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to get all the variables on the left side and I want to get all the numbers on the right side. To do that, I need to get rid of this plus 5n. I can do that by subtracting it from both sides. So they cancel out. And I'm left with negative 6n plus 4 on this side. Now I have a two-step equation. I can subtract 4 to get rid of this plus 4. They cancel out. And I'm left with negative 18 on that side. The last thing I have to do to get rid of the negative 6 is divide everything by negative 6. So they're going to cancel out. I have n is equal to negative 18 divided by negative 6. That's going to be a positive 3. So I put that in my solution set. All right, let's go ahead and check this on the next slide. So for 8, we had this to start off with, right? Negative n minus 4 is equal to negative 14 plus 5n. And we're going to be substituting in the number 3. Okay. So we're going to let n be 3 everywhere we see an n. So I changed that n to a 3. On the other side, I have 5 times n, which is just going to be 5 times 3. 3 minus 4 on the inside right here is going to give me negative 1. And over here on the other side, I have 5 times 3. That's going to give me 15. On the left side now, I have a double negative 1. So that's just going to make it a positive 1. On the other side, I have 15 plus negative 14. That's going to give me 1. So I get 1 equals 1. That is a true statement. So we know that 3 is going to belong inside of the solution set, right? Okay. The last one I wanted to do today is going to be number 10. So let's do that on this slide. All right. I have 6 times 1 plus 7k is going to give me 40 plus 8k. Now for this one, the first thing that I see is I see the distributive property on the left side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 6 and I'm going to multiply it by everything over here. 6 times 1 is going to give me 6. And 6 times 7k is going to give me 42k. On the other side, I'm going to keep everything the same. So now what I want to do is I want to get all the k terms to one side and I want to get all the regular numbers to the other side. So to get all the k's on the left side, we need to get rid of the 8k on the right side. And we can do that by subtracting 8k from both sides. So that way these cancel, the 40 comes down, and on the left side, the 6 is going to come down, and then 42k minus 8k is going to give me 34k. So now I have a two-step equation. Notice that the only two things I have left to do is get rid of the 6 and then get rid of the 34. So to get rid of the 6, we can subtract 6 from both sides. That gives me 34. On the other side, I bring down the 34k, and the 6's will cancel out. So now I have a one-step equation. What's the last thing that I have left to do? Divide both sides by what? 34. Right? Because I want to get rid of the 34 in front of the k. So on the last step, we divide 34 by 34 to get 1. And that's going to be our solution set. Okay. So 1 should be able to work if I was to plug it back in. So let's go ahead and check, just to make sure. Okay, so I'm starting off with my original. What I can do with the 6 is I can leave it the way it is, because all I'm doing for the checking is changing the k into some number. And in this case, we're testing a 1. So we're letting k be 1 in this scenario. So I replace the k with a 1. On the other side, I have 40 plus 8 times 1. So I replaced every single variable with a 1. Then I simplify on the left side. I get 6 times 1 plus 7 times 1. 7 times 1 is going to give me 7. On the right side, I have 8 times 1. That gives me 8. 1 plus 7 is going to give me 8 as well. So now I have multiplication on the left side. 6 times 8 is going to give me 48. And on the right side, I have addition. 40 plus 8 is also going to give me 48. So that is my true statement. So because we got that true statement, we know that k is going to be equal to 1. Okay. So that's going to be it for the day. So let's talk about what's going to be due on Sunday. You're going to have those 2 assignments. They are the two-step equation classwork and the multi-step equation classwork. So I posted some more videos that should be able to help you with that. Just watch them and follow along with them. And if you have any questions, you can contact me by email if you need me. Okay? All right. I think that's all I wanted to talk about today. So class dismissed. You're free to go. If you have any questions about today's lecture, or if you have any questions about the classwork or the homework, just let me know in the chat box and I will get to you. All right. I will see you all next week. Have a very mathematical day and a good weekend.